Are we still awake? Are we feeling good? Come on, guys. Yes. Okay, my name's Eve. We are the Arts and Culture group, as you can tell by my handwriting. So we started by talking about art and culture, and we got that cute little handout that we got. And it says, yeah, definitions, challenges, examples, good practice, abstracts. We're talking about this thing, and we came to one huge conclusion. So I need like a drum roll with our feet. What's the conclusion? Louder. Big conclusion. So the conclusion that there is no conclusion. So this is ridiculous to try to define because it's so complex, which I think shows a huge complexity about all these different issues that we're talking about. So what we decided to do is rely on our strengths to talk about different scenarios and different things that are going on to kind of highlight these complexities in these examples because, as you can tell from my chicken scratch, it's just too much. So, we are going to take you guys through 6 case study scenarios to talk about various things in arts and culture that we came up with.
So we struggled a little bit with the idea that we were not all in the group artists, and if we were thinking about using art or doing art, and so we started showcasing our scenarios. Mine is about the crosswalks, why painting something as simple as a crosswalk could be like a participatory artistic project, even though it is not made by artists. And it could be used to change the way the city it's built and it's shaping. And we also talked about the cultural consumption. You were showing in all these 10 points in the other group. We need to make people aware of what we do. So maybe culture is a way to push all these ideas about cities and make them go for it.
Alright, so the second example is something that happened in Colombia. It's basically to show how governments can also take a role in the scene of art and culture. So here the mayor from Medellin, they invest in creating one library in the middle of a favela, of a slum. So what they did with this was giving a space for community organization, grassroots movement, to interact, to deliver their workshops, to integrate with the whole community. It was some investment that catalyzed what was already happening in this neighborhood. And it also attracts some other investment to this place. They got a cable car to be able to reach the mountain where the library is. So it was this kind of intervention that opened up so many new possibilities for this neighborhood.
So far we've seen art and culture from a government perspective. We've seen arts and culture from a more, from Francisco's perspective. And then in my city, in Detroit, we're bankrupt, $18 billion, so we don't have the money from the government to support these projects. So we rely on private funding, which I think is another avenue for art and culture to kind of take place in the city. So we have huge foundations like the Kresge Foundation, the Knight Foundation, Skillman, Hudson, all these big things giving lots of money to various actors in the city, just artists or organizations. And one example is where they painted artists painted a bunch of murals in a market to kind of reactivate the space. Then we have smaller initiatives, like little teaching studios to teach homeless people how to make these sleeping bags that also doubled as jackets. So the money from these private foundations is another way to kind of ignite art and culture in city development.
And we had a discussion about the role of art in urban development. For me, art is kind of a process, not a product. And so we discuss about art as or art for. This was also an interesting discussion. And I want to say, or I want to introduce you to a project we did in Berlin. It's called Arbeitsbazar. It's a German-Turkish term. And we were around in the neighborhood. We were asked to do a project there. And we found out there's many refugees in this area and many handicrafters, former migrants from the 1970s, mostly Turkish, and they want to retire. They are handicrafters and they want to close their shops, but there is no one who could follow them with the shops. So, and we mind about how can we bring the Syrian refugees together with these handicrafters, and we designed an alternative job center and a mobile workshop to bring these people together. And I think the most important thing is to mind about maybe art could be a kind of an incubator or could be an option to show something or make something visible. And this is the example.
Okay, so this case study number, okay. So in Samara, there's like a community-based investment who create from brick products, recycled products made from solid waste, such as paper and plastic and like coffee sachet or snacks or something like that. And it works like an educational tool to how the community, especially the housewives and the youth, can work together to make some kind of see the ways to elevate and to encourage them to be more aware about how to not littering, such as the trashes, just like that, and we can get benefit from those solid waste. And then actually, it's a form of educational tool and a form of criticism, because it's in Samara there's like very lack of strong political will, at least to process the waste management system and also to form such those waste management like well prepared and well managed like that. So yeah.
Okay, we were also talking about how government or the president should support art, because for the city, art and culture is very important. Cities which have great art and great culture appeal other people. Everybody wants to live in the city, so there are more taxes, more possibilities. So I think that there should be a support programs for the placemakers, for the places where people can get together. For example, in Krakow, there is an open workshop where people there can work together, learn each other, making different creative things. There are very machines, you can use all the machines you can use. So I think that's very important that in big cities, which want to be great culture cities, should be a great, also funds for making places that people could work and make different interesting things.
So concluding marks, like I said, there's not one big conclusion. I think it's really hard to define and exactly say what art is. But we did come with a few takeaway points. The first being that art and culture is a mechanism to join people together. In all of our examples that we talked about, it's a way for people to come together over a common ground and just do good for our places. The second is that it raises awareness and education, so it's a very good educational tool to bring to marginalized communities, to not marginalized communities. So it's a great tool. The third is that it gives city life and value. It makes it a place where we want to live. But at the same time, we also did realize that there are a lot of other issues. For example, funding, and do we want to brand our art with our funding bodies? Or power dynamics. So if the government does come in, is it art for the people? Is it art for the government? So we do recognize that there are a lot of risks and challenges, but overall, I think we're in this group because we think art and culture is a really positive tool. So, thank you.